What you see here is a Fasco Great Room. 5 blades, 56 inches, polished brass finish. This is the second of 2 Fasco Great Rooms that I got off Marketplace in Barboseville, West Virginia, on my way back from Fanimation in the summer of 2023. And both of these fans are from 1986, as evidenced by the second generation blade badges and stock notched canopy with standard ball socket mounting. Overall, this fan is in pretty good condition with minimal scratches or dings in the finish. And there's not really many spots of tarnish in the brass either, which the first one had a few patches of that here and there. And this down rod is not original to this fan. The rod this fan came with was 4 feet long, so obviously couldn't use that, so I had to make do with what I had lying around. And right there you can see the plug for if this switch housing were to be used on a World's Fair. If it were a World's Fair, obviously the very low knob would be sticking out of that spot. I gotta say, I really like this look for the Fasco Great Room, as the second generation blade badges complement the ornate look of this fan much nicer than the third generation blade badges do. It's overall just a very nice look. Also, this burnished walnut blade finish is probably my favorite blade finish that Fasco ever offered. So this fan, however, did require some maintenance. The first thing being the reverse switch. I mentioned this in the video of the first Great Room, that when I got these 2 fans, the reverse leads had been rerouted to go up the down rod. In the first Great Room it wasn't that hard because the reverse switch was still in the motor housing, just not connected to anything, so all I had to do was reroute the wires. This fan, however, the reverse switch was missing entirely, so I had to source a new one. Thankfully I was eventually able to do that, and now it has a reverse switch in it and is working as normal. The second thing that this fan needed some maintenance on was the flywheel. Upon first getting these 2 Great Rooms, both flywheels seemed to be in good enough condition. However, upon closer examination, the flywheel in this one, some cracks were forming around the core where the set screw goes. So while the flywheel was definitely not in imminent danger of unleashing a pentagon of 26-inch solid wood fury on this room, it still could have stood for some improvement, as the flywheel was able to wiggle around a little bit, and that definitely could have caused some vibration issues, as the flywheel was not able to grip the shaft as tightly as it could, and of course the cracks can easily worsen over time with how brittle the plastic and the rubber casing of the flywheel is. So, some jobs, those 2 maintenance jobs later, and this fan is in operable condition. There is low speed. One other note about this fan is that the nylon bushing is a little bit dry, so sometimes there is some rattling of the switch housing. on the higher speeds. Not always, but sometimes. Very nice aesthetic low speed, and due to the large size of the blades, the fan is still moving a nice amount of air. Now we'll go up to medium. And high. And despite the large size of the blades, the fan is still moving quite fast. Very powerful fan. Perhaps the most powerful of the Fasco lineup, though all Fasco drop flywheel fans are quite powerful, so it's hard to say for sure. It's hard for me to say exactly, but the Great Room is definitely up there as one of my favorite Fasco models. Not only are the somewhat ridiculously long blades kind of hilarious to me, but also I just really like the look of it overall. Really my only criticism, I guess you could say, of the Great Room is what they didn't do with it. The number of finishes it was offered in was kind of limited. You had antique brass, polished brass, and white, and then each of those had an ornate variety and then a plain variety offered later. It would have been really neat if they offered, say, white and brass, or brown and brass, or, God forbid, straight brown for the Great Room. But really that's more a nitpick than anything else. And not that I condone doing it, but if one were willing to harvest, say, a Fasco Old South, you could theoretically make a brown and brass Great Room. And there you have it, a polished brass Fasco Great Room, the second of two.